So some of the advantages here, it sits on top of existing network policies, right? So we can take an existing enterprise with existing policies and start to retrofit identity tier policies on top without even necessarily going through the step of relaxing the controls below. But we can start to relax the controls below if we want after we have the identity-based policy. Like I mentioned before, it helps provide a defense in depth, right? Or maybe defense in depth is not quite the right word, although it is the common word that's used in security research here. But really, we think about it as the Swiss cheese model, right? There's holes in any of the layers of defense that we have, and we want to stack enough layers of Swiss cheese together that the attacker can't get all the way through with one hole, right? A little bit different than defense in depth, which is about ceding ground to an attacker to make them spend resources. And then finally, the service mesh components enforcing those access policies play the role of security kernel. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, and when I say kernel, I really do mean like the 1970s, the idea that where your operating system kernel comes from. The idea of a single non-bypassable, always invoked entity that is able to render decisions on what is allowed or not, and is trusted to do so because it's a consolidated code base that is common, that is shared, that is audited, and has eyes on it from the organization, therefore making it safe to place our trust in it. The service mesh can be that for the modern cloud native world, and we argue should be that for the infrastructure that folks are building today. For a lot more on that, NIST SB 800-204B, which I helped co-author, digs in a lot to the idea of performing authentication and authorization via the service mesh, and introduces that notion of the service mesh as a modern security kernel. Multiple network policy continue to exist in this world as well. So we're not having to give up expressivity or capabilities at any other layer. We just want to acknowledge that we are layering these different policies, and that can give us the latitude to relax the policies that are stifling agility, as long as they're augmented by policies up the stack that are easier to manage to keep the organization safe, right?